Hey YouTube, welcome back to Dwayne's World. So today is a very special episode of Dwayne's World. Do you know why? Because it's season 2, episode 1 of Dwayne's World. And I'm very excited to be able to share a few things I'm going to be doing in the lawn today to be able to kick off that season. Not only that, we're going to have a special guest here on Dwayne's World. You better stay tuned. I cannot believe it's already season 2 here on Dwayne's World. Now, some of you may be curious, well, Dwayne, I'm confused. How is it that you're in season 2 now? Didn't you just recently put videos out? Shouldn't there have been a break between season 1 and season 2? And you would be correct. However, the break was mainly about my perennial rye and some equipment things that I, kind of showed you guys over the fall season. However, the majority of my content on Dwayne's World, past, present, and future, has been about my backyard and my Bermuda. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is getting it ready for the spring season. Now, what can you do? People ask me, can I get a quicker green up if I take care of some of the things you do? Maybe. It might help. Not going to hurt. But ultimately, when it comes to your grass coming out of dormancy, Mother Nature holds the majority of the cards when it comes to that. So it really just depends on the temperature in your area. But for right now, it's the soil temperature versus the ambient temperature that I want to look at. Why is that so important? Because we need to make sure we put our pre-emergent down in time. And I'm going to show you guys today what pre-emergent I chose to go with, why I chose to go with it, and the technique that I'm using and why I chose that over another. So with that, let me introduce you to our special guest. All right, so here she is. This is our special guest today. Say hello to a Trucut C25. Now, for those of you that have been around the real mowing game for a while, this is going to be a mower that you're probably very familiar with. You may own one or know somebody that owns one. And it is a fabulous mower. It is absolutely a great choice for the residential market, but it also has its place in the commercial market as well. Most of the landscapers in my area use the Tru-cut. Now, Tru-cuts offer a couple of different variations to their lineup. This particular one is a 25-inch reel, but they also do have a 27-inch reel, and they also have a 20-inch reel as well. So this one in particular, like I mentioned, is a 25-inch reel. So why do I have it? Why do I have this Tru-cut here, C25, and why is it being featured here on Dwayne's World? As you guys know, I have quite a few mowers that I can absolutely go with. So what am I doing with this one? Well, if you guys remember from season 1, my buddy Joel had lent me a couple of different mowers. I featured a McLean, where I did a back lap on it, in addition to a gas tank replacement. So that is his particular mower as well, but this is also his mower. He has also lent me in the past his Allet Liberty 43 that I featured here on Dwayne's World and did a review on. You guys remember that, the battery-powered Liberty 43. And this particular mower wasn't necessarily a request of mine, but when talking about scalping the lawn this year, Joel had asked me, Dwayne, do you want to borrow the C25 to take care of a lot of that work? And what am I going to say? Absolutely. I will absolutely take on using the C25. So what am I doing with it? Well, I mentioned the word scalp. We're going to be doing a pre-scalp. So some may be curious, well, Dwayne, what is a pre-scalp? And why do you have to do a pre-scalp? Why don't you just scalp it? Well, to be honest with you, we're still probably a good 2 to maybe 3 months from a full green up. So it's going to take some time before we're actually there. In fact, we probably won't get fully greened up until more into the month of April. So right now it's only the beginning of February. So why am I even bothering right now with the scalp? Because I can wait. And there's nothing wrong with waiting, and by no means do you have to be scalping this time of year. It's still cold in many parts of the country, so if you still have snow on the ground, obviously this is not necessarily going to be an option for you. However, if you live in a little bit of a warmer climate, like I do here in Southern California, we can start this now. So why would I want to start it now versus just doing it all at once? Well, for those of you that haven't scalped before, you're going to be in for a treat. But ultimately, one of the biggest issues with scalping is obviously it does do a lot of wear and puts a lot of wear on your reel mower, number one. Number two, though, is that it does bring up a lot of clippings, because you have to catch your clippings whenever you do a scalp. You absolutely do not want to leave those clippings on the lawn. So when you're doing that cleanup, imagine having to take this down to a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, You know, whatever your desired height of cut is going to be, you're going to need to scalp below that particular height of cut. Now, my preferred height of cut is 3/4 inch. So my goal is to scalp to probably about 5/8 to 1/2 inch. But I normally, for the beginning of the season, cut a little lower than 3/4 inch, probably closer to 5/8. So with that being said, I think a good scalp for me would be anywhere between 7/16 and 1/2 inch. And that's what I'm going for. So to kind of help that process out and not have as many clippings to deal with at one time, I'm going to do a pre-scalp. So the second reason I'm going to do a pre-scalp is because of being able to apply some pre-emergent. All right, so before I get into scalping, I wanted to show you guys a couple of the weeds I was battling in the last couple weeks here. And as you guys can see here, they look like they're dying. And the reason why they're dying is because of the fact I've applied Celcius to these about 5 to 7 days ago, if I remember correctly. Now, I am still battling some poena in my lawn. However, I got a plan for that. And you're going to have to stay tuned for what my plan is to be able to take care of those things. But Celcius absolutely works on the majority of weeds when you're battling them in your lawn. Now, I do also have some clover over here, as you guys can see. It's taking a little bit longer. But with Celcius, you do have to be patient, especially because of the fact that the temperatures aren't as warm. But that's ultimately why I love Celcius, because Celcius does not have a temperature restriction as it gets really, really hot in the summertime. If you read most of your labels as it relates to herbicides, you cannot apply them generally when it's over 85 degrees. So with Celcius, you don't have to worry about that. And that's ultimately why I chose to use Celcius on my Bermuda grass. It's definitely an expensive herbicide, but well worth the money, as you can see there. All right, so according to my buddy Joel, it's been a little while since he started up this mower. So hopefully we get it to start here. I have no doubt it will. The Honda GX motors are extremely reliable, even if they've been sitting for quite a while. I'll be surprised if it's anything more than one pull to get this Honda GX started. So as always, we're going to go ahead and set our choke, turn our on switch on, and then give it a pull. Yeah. Give it some throttle. There we go. I'm going to warm up for a minute there. But that is absolutely why I love the Honda GX motors. All right, so I got it all started up here. The one thing I noticed as it's warming up here, it probably needs a carburetor cleaning. I think you probably had some old gas if it sat a while. Maybe it'll burn out, we'll see. But it does surge a little bit at full throttle with the choke fully open. So I'm going to probably back off the choke a little bit just to prevent a little bit of that surging just for now. But absolutely going to have to either clean or replace the carburetor, in my opinion. But I just did a quick single pass, as you guys can see there, before I put it on video. And the truth of the matter is I've never used the Tru-cut before in the past, so it's going to take a little bit of getting used to here, but I think I'm fairly familiar now with how to run the mower. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start showing you that scalp action. Truth be told, I gotta get me a Trucut. I cannot believe the power this mower has. It is unbelievable. I lowered the height of cut slightly. I may not even have to do another scalp. I may just be happy with this one scalp. I'm not even sure what the height of cut is here, but it's about 1 notch higher than the lowest setting. I don't want to go down to dirt. So, but I just cannot believe how much grass, number one, is coming off, but just how easy this particular mower is really powering through it. The issue that I'm having though is the grass catcher gets full so quick, I can barely do one pass. So it's going to take me a while to be able to complete this, but at the same time, I cannot believe how well the Tru-cut performs as it relates to really being a workhorse. And I can see why people absolutely love this mower because the power just feels like it's like a sports car, where the more gas you give it, just the faster it just keeps going. So I just love it, because you can throttle how quickly you do want it to propel, which definitely helps. At full throttle, this thing just moves. But at the same time, I'm not going full throttle, I'm just kind of tethering it, and it's really working well for me to be able to get through it. So let's continue to mow. To do was on the right side here, it is about 2 notches higher than the lowest setting. On the left side here, as you guys can see, where you can see a lot more of the what appears to be dirt. It's not actual dirt, but it's just obviously cut at a slightly lower height. I will probably bring it down to that point, but I just think with the amount of clippings that are coming off right now, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it more to the side on the right here, and then we can come back and maybe on a second cut, depending on how it's looking, I'll go ahead and lower it down. But for right now, just because of how many clippings are coming off, I'm going to go with the slightly higher height of cut. All right, guys, I just want to jump in here for a second and kind of show you what I'm dealing with. There's quite a bit of POA here in the lawn. So, you know, obviously I'm going to go ahead and mow this, but that's not going to kill it. It's going to grow back. So I do have a plan. You're going to have to subscribe to my channel to find out what I'm going to use to be able to take care of all this POA. Let's see what we got. Whew, I gotta tell you, a lot of work. But I gotta apologize. I gotta apologize to my buddy Joel. Joel, I'm sorry. And the reason why I'm sorry is because I'm keeping your mower. I absolutely love that C25. God, I didn't realize what I was missing until doing this mode today. You know, the one thing I'll say is I've heard people describe it as a tank in the past. And it's built like a tank. And God, I gotta tell you, I can't agree with you more on that. Like, that thing just keeps going. I felt like throughout any part of the lawn here, there wasn't one piece of my turf, even though it's very bumpy, where I felt like it was gonna stop or I felt like it was gonna jerk. It just kept mowing through it. It didn't matter what was in front of it. The only time I had a problem was when the grass catcher was full and a lot of the grass was starting to come back into the reel. I got a little bit of waviness on that part of the lawn just because of the fact that the reel couldn't spin as fast because there's just so much grass that was clogged. Not the fault of the reel, not the fault of the mower. It's just the fact that there's so much grass and the turf was so dense in those spots that the grass catcher couldn't keep up. And it's probably the only downfall I would say to this Tru-cut so far, that the grass catcher reminds me a lot of the California trimmer grass catcher, where it just has a hard time being able to catch a lot of clippings at one time, so it doesn't work exactly the way it probably could work had it been designed a little bit differently. So, but at the same time, I gotta tell you, let's take a look at this scalp. All right, so there we are. I gotta tell you, I was not going for stripe action, but it definitely did a great job laying down some decent stripes there, even without trying. Let me turn the camera around. Sure. Nice picture of the trash can there. I got 3 of them that are absolutely almost full right now. So stripe action doesn't come through quite as nice as it was previously, but you could still see it. Again, I was not going for stripe action. I'm gonna go ahead and do another cut. We're going in this direction. I'm not gonna change the height of cut. It's just because the turf was so dense. I don't wanna create that many more clippings. And again, this was a pre-scalp. Now I'll take you over to where I first started, and the height of cut was lower, again, on this side here, before I decided to just bump it up a hair. So I got to check the measurement. I'll go ahead and post it on the screen here what the actual height of cut is on where I started on the right side here, and then where I actually did the majority of the lawn on the left side there, just so you guys can see what the height of cut that I'm going for. Hopefully it is closer to a 1/2 inch was where I want it to be. However, even if it's like 5/8 or whatnot, that's going to work for right now. I can always come back and do another scalp thereafter. But at the same time, let's go ahead and start that second mow. That times 3. Got another one back there and another one back there. Got one there, one there. Oh man, I cannot believe how much grass comes off whenever you do a scalp. And I didn't even go down all the way. Oh geez. But it definitely is looking good. Definitely looking good. Let me give you guys a shot of what it's looking like. Oh yeah, I'm loving it. Nice and low, and that's not even dirt, right? You know, you can scalp as low as you want to go, but there's no need to necessarily go all the way to dirt. It really, like I said, depends on your height of cut. If you're going to be cutting at 3/4 inch, scalp to 1/2 inch. If you're going to cut at 1/2 inch, scalp to, 1/4 inch, or at least 3/8. So Dwayne, do I have to do a pre-scalp? No. You absolutely do not need to do a pre-scalp. You could just do the one scalp if you choose to. Just wait a little bit longer as it starts to heat up. You absolutely can go that route and there'll be nothing wrong with it. You'll get a great success. and there's nothing wrong with it, and you'll have a great result. The reason why I chose to do a pre-scalp is, like I mentioned earlier in my video, it's for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is because of the next video I'll be putting out, which has to do with my pre-emergent that I chose to go with. The pre-emergent that I'm going with is a granular, so I wanted to be able to open up the canopy to allow that pre-emergent to work that much more effectively. That's the first reason. The second reason, as you guys saw in my video, I had a lot of grass clippings that came out, even cutting at 5/8 of an inch. And I want to be able to maintain my lawn to start the season at 5/8 of an inch, so I need a scalp below that. So I will have to do a second scalp. The second scalp will probably be closer to 1/2 inch. Now imagine if I had started and wanted to go straight to a 1/2 inch. I would absolutely not have enough room in my waste baskets to be able to get rid of all those clippings, and I'd have to figure out what I'm going to do. I mean, I'd rather not do that. So this is why I chose to break it up into a couple different sessions. So it's what works for me. Got to do what works for you. If I had a much smaller lawn, maybe I'd only do the single scalp and call it a day. But if you're dealing with a lot of square footage, and in my lawn, it's about 7,000 square feet, or if you have a different way of getting rid of your clippings, you know, you could choose to do it. The last thing you want to do, though, do not do this, is do not leave those clippings on the lawn. That's just going to make the situation worse. So absolutely make sure you do bag your clippings and dispose of them. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. A lot of fun being able to put it together. Special thank you to my buddy Joel for allowing me to borrow the Tru-cut. Hopefully he'll let me borrow it again as I go through my next scalp. But with that being said, you know, I absolutely love the Tru-cut. I may be looking for one on my own and may not need to borrow one, right? So with that, as always, be excellent and party on.